So welcome guys, welcome back to another episode of OverTime. Myself, Mr. Fantastic. Today we've got two very special guests. We're doing it a bit different. They're all the way in Birmingham, which is an amazing city. I want to go back, I absolutely love it. They're a married couple and they're just here really just to share their experience, as today the topic is going to be about love. Do you know, I should put like a little slow jam in the background. Just to set the mood for this episode, just so that people really understand that today, it's going to be serious. So we got Herve and Mia. Would you guys like to introduce yourself?
So yeah, we're Herve and Mia, like Mr. Fantastic said. We've been married now nearly 2 years. We got married when we was how old? I was 20.
No, I think you was 19. I was 21.
Yeah.
19, yeah. So she was 19. I was 21. Back in 2018?
Yeah, so we're going on 2 years this year.
That's crazy. Did the thought of like getting married young like ever scare you? How did you guys feel about that? Because I know how, like, for instance, I'm Brazilian, so obviously like our culture is completely different. Like, you get married young. So my granddad calls and he's like, "Oh, how's Samuel?" And my dad's like, "Yeah, he's playing FIFA," and he's like super disappointed in me. Because I'm single by choice. I just thought I'll put that out there. It's a personal decision of mine. That's why I'm single. It's not, I'm having any issues or anything. But yeah, like, did you guys ever feel like how did you know that it was for you? Especially because like in this country with our culture, it's not something that is seen very often. Like, people are like, yeah, marriage, that's like in your 30s. That's something you do when you're a lot older, like your life's established kind of thing. Like, how did you guys, like, mentally, how was that for you?
Like, for me, this was like something she actually found out like 2 weeks ago when I told her. It was basically, you was there when I actually came to church, and my first ever time in church, you was there. And I remember that day when I came. From then, literally things just literally went forward for me, and then I decided to give my life to God and all of that.
Yeah.
But I made a decision. I remember saying to myself, I was 17 at the time. I said, I want to get married I wanted to get married by the age of 22.
Yeah.
And the reason to it was kind of stupid.
Uh-huh.
But I said I want to get married by the age of 22 is because by the age of 22, I want to be rich. I don't want any girl to try and come into my life when I'm there.
Yeah.
I want someone to go up there with me and build with me. That's the mentality that I had. And obviously I made that decision. I made that, obviously, that prayer with God and everything. And I just left it, I think it was just one thing I left there, concentrated. It wasn't one of them things where I wanted to push it, by 22.
Yeah.
And it was, and then when I decided to propose, I was 20. When I decided to propose, I was actually 19. Obviously, it took a whole year to proper process it, because I thought to myself, this is a decision that it has to be a serious decision. It can't just be something where I'm just feeling this in the process. Later on, I'm not feeling it. So it took a whole year to prepare myself mentally, to prepare myself for everything, every obstacle that was about to come.
Yeah.
And then the following year, obviously, is when I full on said, yeah, this is what I'm going to do. This is the girl for me, in other words, really, yeah?
Yeah. The whole building mindset, like, that's something that I have as well. Like, I don't want to marry someone when everything in my life is like established, or meet someone at that point. Like, I want to build with someone. I want to go through life, experiencing stuff together. I want to, if I lose, okay, that sounds really bad, but if I lose money, like, if I invest in the wrong thing, if I make the right movements, like, I want you to be there with me. I want you to see the process in which it took for me to reach that kind of like where I want to be, that Mr. Fantastic that I'm aiming to be. I don't want to be there and be like, yo, like, let's get married. And then, all the stories that we have to tell people is, I took her to this really nice restaurant. I got her these really nice heels. Like, no, I want us to be like, like, mad things happen. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I want someone to experience everything with me. Did you have like the same kind of like mindset, or was it kind of like different for you, Mia?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly what you said. Because for me, I always used to look at it like, if I'm already there and you come into my life, what have you got to bring to the table?
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say? It's like, what have you got to bring to the table except for the fact that you're a woman? I understand you're a woman of God, but except for the fact that you're a woman. You get what I'm trying to say? So it's like, no disrespect or anything like that, but like, if I'm already there, and if you're not there, what have you got to bring to me?
It's true.
We've got nothing in common, you get what I'm trying to say? It has to be a thing where I want someone that's got the same mentality as me, that's going to grow with me, that's going to struggle with me, that's going to, you know, everything. And then run down the line, we're going to look back at it and think, bro, this is everything that we went through. Look at where we are.
But I feel like there is boundaries with that, because like in a physical sense, it makes sense. But then like you can't be not knowing yourself and not even have a foundation within yourself and even with God, and then be trying to look for someone because you probably aren't even dateable as it is, because you don't even know who you are, but you're trying to look for someone and then build your character around them. So I think physically it makes sense, like your goals and celebration, things like that. But then within yourself and your own character and your own person and who you are, you need to have that already checked before you even try to look into a relationship, because I think that will create a big mess if you try to get into a relationship and you don't actually know who you fully are yet. So I think in that sense, you need to build on yourself first and then start to look for someone.
Yeah, like when you said it's true, that's what I said. It took me like almost a year to actually officially propose, because it was a thing where
you have to check yourself.
You get what I'm trying to say? This is a decision that you're making for the rest of your life. I'm not trying to do this and then 10 years down the line, not even 10 years, 2 years, 3 years down the line, saying to myself, whoa, this is the biggest mistake of my life. You get what I'm trying to say? And then next year, you know, you end up getting a divorce. And then what? You're 23 and divorced already. Like, come on, that's long. I'm not trying to do that. I'm trying to go there. I'm trying to die there. Or whoever dies first. If she dies first, I die first. Get remarried. Couldn't care less. You get what I'm trying to say?
Are you okay?
That's what I'm trying to say. It's like,
it's
just,
it's something for life.
Death does us part. Simple as that. If I die first, amen. If she dies, amen. We move.
It's true, because like, and it's quite like, for instance, it's quite scary for a lot of people, because like divorce is something that's so common in society nowadays. Like I remember one day I got in an Uber and the guy's like, oh, how old are you? I think at the time I was like 19, 20. And he's like, do you have a girlfriend? I'm like, no, I don't. He's like, you know, I wouldn't advise you to get into a relationship with anyone, you know, just have fun. He used the words fornicate. He said, yeah, go fornicate. But don't. And he's like, but don't get married. And I'm like, why? Why? He's like, because he looked at me and he said, marriage doesn't work. And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, he was just explaining to me, like, he was going through like a divorce. He was saying how like his life was basically falling apart because of a bad decision, because of a decision in which he made out of emotion. Like, as you said, from when you decided to actually propose, it took you a whole year to actually take that action, because you needed to make sure that, this is really what I want. Like, you needed to think into the future, like not think into the future, like, because obviously we don't know the future, but you're like, is this person going to help me stay sane? Is this person going to help me with my faith? Are we going to go for all of these things? So he was coming from like a very bitter place when it came to marriage. And I feel like it's literally like what you were saying, where like, I don't think he was at a point when he met his missus, but probably now they're divorced, where he knew himself. It was kind of like a thing of where it was just, we're young, I want to build a family. And some people, they just want someone there. Do you know what I mean? They just want someone next to you. Like I remember like a friend of mine, he said, like going through stuff is horrible. But imagine just going home and then having someone to hold you. Like that's like what people, because obviously like it's, when you think about it, it's kind of nice. Do you know what I mean? Knowing that you have someone to go home to love, that someone that will go home and give you affection and stuff like that. But it's a lot deeper than that.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm about to say. It's a lot deep. A lot of people think about it. Say example, I work on 9 to 5. Say I leave my house. What time do I normally leave for work? Half 7?
Yeah.
I leave the house for like 7:30.
Yeah.
I get home for like 6.
Yeah.
That I've left my 9 to 5, I have to leave that mentality behind. But now I'm at home, I have to still kind of work, because it's working on your relationship, working on your relationship to know your wife. It's not just, oh yeah, let me come home, kick my legs up, and that's it. No, it's not that.
Yeah, it's not.
People need to get that mentality of, oh yeah, I went for a bad day, let me just sit there now. No, you went for a bad day at work, you're going to come home, probably food ain't going to be ready, you know. Probably sometimes food ain't going to be ready because she's probably coming from work as well. So you both have to think, cool, what we're going to eat for dinner. You have to process all these things, and then you have to have time for each other, and then you have to have time for your spiritual life as well. All of these things, it's basically work outside of work.
Yeah.
If you get my thing. Or it's enjoyable work outside of work because you're doing it with someone that you love.
Yeah, I was actually listening to a podcast. It was with Andy Mineo. I can't remember who actually said it, but he said, in order to like be in a happy relationship, you need to not in order to be in a happy relationship, but one thing that you need to do is you need to be willing to teach someone how to love you. So basically, he was saying how he knows his wife loves him, but just the fact of coming home and hearing her say, "Hey, I love you," it makes him feel better. It's like any insecurity that was there, it's not gone, but it's like, okay, like there's that reassurance of actually hearing it. There's certain things that people like. There's certain things that you want to be shown affection because everyone's different. Like, for instance, me and my dad are complete opposites. However, you know my dad. My dad is the complete opposite of me. He's such a quiet guy. I am loud. I'm affectionate. Like I come home and I'm like, oh man, I love you. And he's just like, yeah. And I'm like, say it back. And then he's like, you know I love you. I'm like, yeah, but like say, I want to hear. And there was even one day he was like, what difference does it make if I say it? I'm like, I just want to hear it. I know it's true. And with all your actions, I know that you love me, but I just want to hear it because it makes me feel nice. And after hearing that, I was like, because obviously he just said it from that side of teaching how to love. But I started to kind of like think, I'm like, yo, all right, so if I'm going to be in a relationship, I need to teach my girl how to love me. But I was like, yo, but love is a two-way thing. So not only do I have to teach her how I want to, I need to now be willing to learn how she wants to be loved. Maybe she's the complete opposite. Maybe what if she's like my dad, where I tried to be affectionate and she's just like, yeah. Do you know what I mean? You need to be willing to learn and also willing to teach as well. And I feel like when I hearing people talk about it, it sounds just so magical. It sounds just so beautiful, but I feel like when you have to like experience it, that's when it gets a bit different. Would you like?
What you said is kind of true because with me, I was that I've never been into it. All this affectionate, because it's the type of background that I've come from. Yeah, I've come from the roads. I've done all of them kind of things. So affectionate was not there. So it was like, and then she, on the other hand, you know what I'm trying to say? She come from a family that constantly says, I love you. When I say constantly, I mean constantly will say, yeah. As when we go visit, I love you. We'd go back, I love you. Literally, they'll constantly say it. But for me, it was like, yeah, if you know I love you, if you know that I love you, why do I have to keep saying it?
You actually used to say that, you know, you know what it is. You know say something like that. You already know what it is. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. So I didn't actually understand that, but to a point where it has to come to a point where you have to compromise. You can't be, what's the word? You can't be stuck in your ways. Yeah, you can't be just stuck in your own ways. Because now marriage is a two-way, like you said, it's a two-way thing. You have to be, you can't just receive. You have to be able to give as well. Yeah. Yeah, so that's one thing that I actually had to learn. And then obviously later on down the line, it is what it is, isn't it?
Yeah, it's true. But like kind of, obviously like the reason why I really wanted to do this episode is because obviously like people hear it all the time. God is love. Like that's what we get taught. Like the fruit of the Holy Spirit is love. Then the other fruits are just manifestations of love, patience, self-control, all of these things. But going back to the teaching side of love, I kind of started to look at that in a like a spiritual sense, because I feel like marriage is a representation of your relationship with Christ. I feel like the way that you have to it's an ongoing thing. It's a thing of where you need to learn every day. It's a thing of where you need to teach every day. It's a thing of where you develop every day. And I was thinking, all right, so if this whole teaching, this whole learning thing, how does that apply to me and God? And I was like, all right, how do I teach God how to love me? And I realized that's something that people do a lot. When you pray, you're like, God, I need this. God, I need that. Bless me with this. Bless me with that. And a problem that happens a lot in your love life and also in your spiritual life as well is you're always willing to teach, but we're not willing to learn. We're not willing to learn from Christ. Like, how can I say it? So you pray, like, imagine if one of you only cared about yourself in your relationship. It would just fall apart. Like nothing will work. Nothing will work. And sometimes God tries to teach us how to love him. He's like, yo, you see this thing that you do? It's not good for you. How about you stop that? And then once you get better, I'll give you what you're praying for. All right, I'll give you this blessing now, but I won't give you everything because I know you're not ready for it. But you need to change here. You need to change there. You need to do these things. But then it's like people are just so stuck in their ways. And it's like you just want to teach and not learn. And I kind of like wanted to ask you guys, like, from that like kind of sense and that mindset through marriage, from what you learned in marriage, is there something that you can share with us that can relate to that? Relate to being humble and being willing to learn from Christ as well. Learn from Christ on how to love you. Is there anything that you guys would like to say?
I could say I could say this in a spiritual way, obviously personal spiritual life way.
Yeah.
It was like me coming to church from that kind of thing. For me, it was different because I know where I've come from, the type of things that I've done and everything. So it's like, cool, I've done this, I've done that. How is this guy now? This guy in the sky, or this I used to look at it, this man in the sky, how is he going to love me? You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So I didn't understand this whole concept of love and all that. I was like, oh, wow, I don't have a relationship with my parents. They don't love me, all of these kind of things, all this madness. And then it was like, cool. These people, my physical family don't love me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So how is this so-called God that you guys speak about is going to love me? So I didn't understand that concept of having to now abandon my ways.
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say? I have to change me for
something you can't see.
For things that I can't see. Is it, you know what I'm trying to say? I have to change certain things about me for things I can't see because God is, you have it in your head. When God says, you need to change this, it was constant something that would just constantly be, this needs to change, this needs to change, this needs to change. And then when I understood that God actually loved me was the fact where, when I remember when I came to the church, the first change that I said that I wanted to see was constantly stop swearing. Within 1 week, I completely stopped swearing. I didn't understand how. And I thought to myself, right, wait, cool. I made this prayer. No one heard me. Cool. There's actually someone there listening, then, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
That's when I understood that thing. Okay, for me now to receive, first I have to give.
Yeah.
So it was, even though it took obviously quite of a process, I was giving peace, and then taking that onto my marriage was a thing where, like I said, I was that person. I cared about myself a lot. You know, so it was just me myself. Like, literally, she knows it was just me myself. So coming into the marriage was where the first year was a struggle for us. It was a struggle because we were butting heads. We were butting heads with a lot of things. But it was that thing of I didn't want to learn.
Yeah.
And then when I wanted to teach, I want to teach in a way where
it's my way.
It's my way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You want to learn in my way.
I was always the same as well. But I didn't want to learn, but I want you to know my way. So I didn't want to know his. He didn't want to know mine. But we wanted each other to know out. So it didn't work at all.
Yeah.
So and then I believe it was like on our first year anniversary when we actually fought things actually need to change. You know what I'm trying to say? Because we can't, if this keeps happening, like I said earlier, if this keeps happening, you're going to end up thinking, wait, was this a mistake?
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say? So it was one of the, we sat down, we spoke about where we actually had to listen to each other.
Yeah.
We actually had to listen to each other, and then we had to start learning from each other. And
I think as well, like marriage for me personally is literally the closest thing, like relationship wise, that you can compare with God.
Yeah.
Because it's like with marriage, there's no such thing as, oh, the marriage is perfect just by choice, like by I've just got married and it's perfect. We get along so well. Everything is always on the same page.
That's what Instagram tells you, though.
Yeah. It tells you you're made for each other. So that means if I'm made for each other, then we're going to perfectly slot together and there's going to be no problems. And if there's problems, I need to duck out. But that isn't true. And it's the same with God. If you're not willing to do your part in your marriage or with God, then there's not going to be any good fruits because you haven't done anything good to show, like, to get the good fruits back. Yeah. And even like as a wife, I think being submissive to the husband is obedience. And it's something that I really had to learn. But it's easier to learn something, like he said, when you think with God, it's a person in the sky you can't physically see. But when you're married now, it's a physical thing, so you can see it in a physical sense, and it's easy to learn, obviously, something that you can see. So it was really easy for me to see, okay, wait, for me to be submissive, I need to be obedient. So if he really says, Mia, you need to stop, I don't know, leaving your things on the side. Okay, I can actually do that in a physical sense. And now taking it to God, and God says something, I don't know, Mia, you need to stop doubting. Now I've kind of learned it in the physical sense. So it's easier for me to apply my relationship with God and be more obedient in that sense. So I think literally, like in all senses, when you deep it, marriage is so similar to our relationship with God, because if you don't give in your marriage, it's not going to work. If you don't give to God, then God is not going to work for you, and you're going to be someone that says, oh, yeah, God doesn't work because you didn't give. And it's the same. You can be the taxi driver saying, no, marriage doesn't work. But it's because reality, he probably didn't give. He saw a problem and he said, this is not for me. And he ran.
Yeah.
He took it out.
Yeah, saying that as well, that just reminded me of the verse when he says, I think husbands, treat your wife like you treat the church.
Yeah.
You know what? That is, if you actually deep it, it's the same thing. The way, me personally, I can't go to church and then leave it there.
Yeah.
If I can't do that there, I can't do the same for my wife. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Because that shows that you can't. It's like if you're doing that in the church, you're cleaning the church, but you're doing the opposite to your wife. Technically, regardless of what you do there, it doesn't matter because you're still disrespecting God.
It's true. You know I feel like with conversations like this, it just reminds you how deep marriage is, like how serious it is. Because I feel like because as I said, Instagram shows something completely different. Because let's be honest, it's not a bad thing. You don't want to show people your bad side. Do you know what I mean? You don't want to show people like the issue. So obviously what we're going to put out into the world is positive. Like we're only going to put out the positive vibes, but people misinterpret that into where they think that everything's easy. They think that everything is so simple. And I feel like once they reach that point and like life hits them, they're like, whoa, like I wasn't ready for this. Yo, marriage problems are real. Like I just remembered when we were in Thorpe Park and then we were talking about taking your day on the line and then start arguing. And I said, and what she would turn around and say, you keep leaving the toilet seat up. And you laughed and said, do you think that's what marriage problems are? And it's literally just things that, like, once you're not there, you can't understand. Like, you just think, oh, okay, no, I keep, when I'm done, I put the toilet seat down. No marriage problems for me. Do you know what I mean? Like, you think, yo, I'm ready. Like, I'm patterned. But I feel like there's no way that you can prepare. You can prepare yourself, but what's coming, you don't know. Yeah, you can, but you can't. You can be your best self, and she can be her best self, or vice versa. But once you get there, once two minds come together, it's completely different. And
that's like your relationship with God as well.
Yeah.
You can prepare yourself in the best way. You can even be one person with the Holy Spirit. You can prepare the best way. But it's like when life hits, like virus, life hit. You have to what's the word? Adjust, or you're gonna fall.
Yeah.
It's one of them things. We spent 3 months. We spent 3 months watching services through our TV in our house. But it was a thing where, cool. Do I do it in the same way that I did it in the church, or do I do it sitting in my couch in my pajamas? I've got a decision to make. So you decide to adjust or not. It's actually like you said, it's the exact same thing. It's the same with marriage. You don't know what's going to happen. You do not know what's going to happen.
It's true. It's so true. It's absolutely so true. And also, regarding to both faith and marriage as well. Of course, speaking from like my understanding, something that I also heard as well. It was something that Richard Rohr said. Once again, I know people have their opinions on him. He's his way of preaching is a bit different, but he said, I believe it's scientifically proven that your mind can only, you can only counteract 5% of what's in your mind. So you can't come and tell someone everything that you believe in is wrong, because it won't be able to register in their mind. So the same way that, and obviously I believe that God knows how he created us. Like, you wouldn't create something not knowing how it is. So obviously I believe that God comes, he speaks to you in pieces and stuff like that. But it's also the same with like marriage. Like, you come into this new environment and then you have your way of thinking, and then someone else is like with like their, like, you guys are not from the same tradition. Like, you guys don't have the same tradition. I don't know if there was like differences in that. That's something I'm super scared of. I'll be very honest with you. Like, I want to marry a Brazilian because I don't want any issues when it comes to tradition and stuff like that. We don't celebrate Christmas on Christmas Day. We celebrate on Christmas Eve. Christmas Day we sleep. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, just the small things. I don't want issues. Like, but then someone comes with their completely different mindset. Of course, like, hopefully the person, you're of God, that person's of God. So there will be similarities, but everyone's different. So now they come with their different mindset, and it's like, whoa. And they want you to understand everything at once. But the same way that God gives you these little 5% at a time, I feel like with marriage, it's the same thing as well. Like, you both need to come to an understanding where it's like, all right, cool. Can you change this? All right. Even if obviously you don't want the person's not a robot, you're not going to program the person, but it's like, okay, if this little 5% you can change about yourself, I'll change this little 5%, like compromising this, that. All right. Okay, cool. Maybe I did celebrate Christmas on Christmas Eve my whole life, but because I love you, Christmas Day, I won't sleep in. I'll wake up, we'll do everything. Do you know what I mean? Like, just those little compromises with just everything. And I feel like that's when growth happens. And that's when a beautiful relationship with Christ, and also a beautiful relationship with your spouse like flourishes.
Exactly that. Like, you see, you gave the example of Christmas. Like, I remember our first year, because I've never been onto all of this, Christmas and then have a Christmas tree in your house and all them kind of things. I've never been into it. Yeah. But the first year of marriage, she wanted to do all of that. And I was like, no. Yeah. I don't want to keep my house. I don't want that mess. I don't want this. I don't want that. But it came to a point where I had to understand, cool, this is what she's always done. Yeah. You know what I'm trying to say? Uh-huh. This is what she's always done. Because we got married in August. 4 months later was Christmas, so 4 or 5, whatever it is. Yeah. So it's like, I expected that change to happen like that. We're not going to do Christmas in my house. But when I understood, cool, this is what she's done all her life, cool, let her have that. Yeah. So I left it there. And then the following year was a thing where she threw the Christmas tree away, said, cool, this year we're not having a Christmas tree. Because I was like, whoa, okay. Yeah. I'm trying to say, so it was different. It was different because it's that compromise. When you have that compromise, and it's just that thing where I can't even explain it properly, but it works. It works because I'm trying to say you're compromising for both, and there's that middle ground for you. Really,
I think as well, like, it is like you said about the 5%, it is immaturity, especially when you're like, even in your faith and in your marriage, when you're first newlyweds or when you're first to Christ, you want everything to change so fast. You want to come to the person and say, okay, I don't like this about you, I don't like this about you. You need to stop doing this, you need to stop doing that. And you want them to change the next day. You don't want them to do it anymore, not even one mistake. And that's where, like you said, the headbutting comes in. And the same is your relationship with God. You think, okay, God, I don't want to be like this, I don't want to do this, I don't want to. And you think that by saying it, it's going to happen that same moment. Yeah. And you're not really thinking about, what can I do to help this person change? And that's immaturity. But then when you grow, like you said, when you reach that thing of it's small, you do small, I do small, that's when you actually realize that your relationship, like you said, it reaches a good level and it flourishes. Because I feel like we've reached that level now where even if I notice there's something that maybe he's done and I know I've told him about it before, maybe I won't pull him up this time and I'll just clean it away or I'll just move it, even instead of telling him right now. But then the next time, maybe I'll point it out, or maybe I won't. But it's by me doing something to help him rather than just getting at him all the time. Yeah, he sees the change in me rather than by me turning off his ear and he's not listening. But by me doing it, then he's gonna actually start to like follow in the same it as well.
Yeah, it's the other thing. Like with that 5%, I think it's like a pride thing. I feel like it's a pride thing because it's like say example. Say, this is a bad example, but say you're digging your nose constantly, yeah? And then someone comes, that's the only thing that came into my mind. Say you're constantly digging your nose, and someone comes to you in a way where, that's disgusting, stop doing that. It's a pride thing.
Yeah, you can be like,
Like, who are you to tell me? It's a pride thing. Your pride's going to kick in and you'll be defensive. Yeah. Because you have that thing of, I have to shield myself because someone just come at me, not looking at it as, that person shouldn't help me. But if you come in a different angle, you say, yo, bro, obviously, at your big age, shouldn't be doing that.
Even that's a bit, I feel like that's the most disrespectful thing you can say to someone at your big age. That makes you think, like, it's true, at my big age. My big age, I'm still doing this. It's so mad. But I also kind of feel like that's also due to like kind of like life experiences as well. I feel like sometimes people can't really differentiate when someone is trying to hurt them and when someone is trying to help them. Do you know what I mean? Because some people look at things like differently. Like King David said, your rebukes are oil on the top of my head. Do you know what I mean? Not everyone sees a rebuke. Not everyone sees being, for those of you that don't know like what a rebuke is, it's like when someone tells you off. Not everyone sees that as like oil. Not everyone sees that as God sanctifying them, as God teaching them something. They just can see it as like, yo, you're trying to hurt me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And that's also, I feel like also comes down to like the way that people have like been brought up. Like say in life, people have just been coming at you and now, do you know what I mean? Something happens and it's like your mindset is now programmed. Okay, so you now want to hurt me because of the tone in which you're using or the attitude in which you're giving me because of that person's life experiences as well. So I feel like that's also where that kind of like that pride kind of like enters into the whole dynamic and everything like that. And that's a different thing as well. Growing up, life's different for everyone. Exactly. People see different things.
It's true, because I remember not my first, I've had a lot, like I've done a lot. You know what I'm trying to say? When you get peppered by the pastor, you're going to have, you already know how it is. But it's like, I remember one of probably the worst smoke that I ever got from a pastor. From the type of background that I've come from, it's like, if you're going to disrespect, man, we're going to have it out. Yeah. You know what I said? We have it out. But I remember that day where it was like, it was, for me, I looked at it, it was a test from God. No more. I remember that there, I got peppered so bad. You see, when tears will come into my eyes because of anger, because I'm mad, because I felt so angry. But then it was where I was able to control myself. I was able to control myself because I thought to myself, like, is it actually worth it lashing out? You know what I'm saying? Is it worth it?
The pastor.
Like, I was angry. I was angry at the moment, but it was like, you know one thing. After that situation, I've never got into a situation like that again because I looked at it, the way he was speaking to me. He wasn't speaking to me as, he was looking at me as his own child, and he was trying to make sure this situation doesn't happen again. He's trying to better you for the future. So when people look at it as, oh yeah, you're getting peppered and they want to cry about it, they don't want to be defensive about it, it's long. Because especially for me, the way I look at it, especially if a man of God is coming to me and telling me, even if they're saying it in a way where it will get you angry, take your chance. Because if you hear everything, you're able to better yourself, because there's like one thing I'm from one thing that they say, like, she's my mirror, I'm her mirror. So you know what I'm trying to say? So someone my mistakes, I won't see. I won't see someone mistakes. She'll see and she will.
Yeah. I had a conversation with someone about this, and it was actually a pastor, and he was basically just saying, like, he sat me down and he was like, yo, like, there's certain things that I've noticed about you that are not good. And at first I'm like, yo, like, what are you trying to say? Like that was my reaction. I was like, what do you mean? Like, certain things about me are not good. And he's like, I'm not saying that. And then I feel like he could see my face, and he's like, it's not that you're a bad person. It's not that you're doing wrong. It's just that there's certain things about yourself that you can't see, and God uses others to show you so that you can change. Because let's be honest, no one wants to look at themselves in a negative way. And if you do, the outcome is never positive. Do you know what I mean? If you always have a negative look upon yourself. So it's like you always tend to see the positives. You don't really tend to look at the wrong, or wrong's like a strong word. Even like just the small mistakes that you do. Like, say, like, you're late to church every Sunday, and in your mind it's not that deep, but the pastor noticed. He sees you walking. Service starts at 10 o'clock. He sees you at 11 o'clock just coming through the back door. Like, do you know? But maybe in your mind it's just like, like, it's not that deep. But then he sits you down. It's like, all right, but what if this is work? Do you know what I mean? And then they help you understand it in a way. And he was saying that, he's like, look, I'm a pastor, but there's things that are like, I'm not perfect. And he said that those in a position of authority to him, God uses them to point out the things about him that he needs to change. And it kind of reminds me of something that I said on the first ever episode of Overtime with Mr. Overcome with Taffy. I said, before I am a man of God, I need to understand that first I'm a man. And as a man, I am prone to make mistakes. And I feel like sometimes when we start to develop a relationship with God, I feel like we kind of forget that. Like, as humans, we're prone to mistakes. So it's like any little thing, it's like, I can't believe it. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, you beat yourself up so much because it's like you think that now you're perfect, but you're not perfect. You have the one who is perfect with you, and he's guiding you, because he knows if he leaves you, we're just going to make a mess. And I actually forgot what we're talking about now. Sorry, I just diverted. The mirror. Yeah, it was the mirror. Just diverted.
It's literally true, because, like you said, the whole late thing.
Yeah.
Actually, one thing I actually used to say to Mira a lot, it's like, if we're late to service, we may not think it's that deep. Maybe even one-off, we may think it's that deep, not that deep. But if someone was coming to you and say, you've got an interview for your dream job at 6 a.m. in the morning. Yeah. Guaranteed you're going to be up at 4. You're going to have a shower. You're going to have a shower. You're going to be ready even an hour early, and you're going to end up being there on time. But people don't value that. They value the same thing because they look at it. I don't know. For me, anyways, the way I used to look at it as, it's just church, isn't it?
As long as I'm there.
Yeah, literally.
If pastor hasn't preached yet, and I hear the preaching, it's okay. I got the message. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Go on.
That's like how I used to look at it. I remember even when I first started even coming to services, it was like, sometimes I'm gonna lie, I'll come service. I used to sit in the front row, but I'll conk out.
Yeah.
But I'll fall asleep, because it was the fact where I never had that zeal, that respect. You should get on to the
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I feel like that's also like with priority as well. Because like, for instance, I have a friend who like I've been trying to bring him to church for a while. And when I tell you Sunday morning to get this guy out of his bed is so hard. Like we'll agree on Friday, I'll put the alarm on his phone. I'll be like, bro, you're going to be there 10 a.m. for fellowship. He's like, yeah, definitely. I'm going to be there. And then at like 12 o'clock, he calls me. He's like, bro, I just woke up, da, da, da. And then like, after a while, I'm like, yo, like, you don't come church on Sunday? He's like, no, I play football. I'm like, oh, like, what time is kickoff? It's like, yeah, kickoff's at 10. So I have to wake up at 8. I'm thinking, bro, but to come to church at the same time, you couldn't do it. But why? It's because of people's priorities are just like football for him is his priority. So he's like, all right, if I have to go to sleep early, even if I don't want to, he'll lay in his bed and count sheep for God knows how long to make sure that he goes to sleep and he wakes up. But it's like with church, it's the priority is a bit different. You know what I mean? Oh, maybe if I miss the first
half.
Yeah, the first half, that's fine. As long as I get, a bit of the message. Even if I come late, ask pastor to make a little 1-2 prayer for me, ask someone to send me their notes. Do you know what I mean? Like priorities are just a bit different.
Exactly that way. Because you've been talking about bringing people to church. I remember one time I came to service in a tracksuit,
Yeah.
When I say tracksuit, I mean, you see one of them tracksuits that you just wake up in. That's how it was. Listen, I remember I invited my friend to come and that. He said he's going to come, everything, calm. Tell me why he's not answering his phone now.
Uh-huh.
This was like 8:30, he's not answering his phone.
Yeah.
Cool. So I said, one thing I'm going to do, I don't live too far for him. Put on a little banged up tracksuit, just go to his house, knock his door, wake him up, go back home and get changed. I was there trying to convince him to come to the service from 8:30 till 10.
Man.
And the service starts at 10.
You know what I'm saying? I had to leave. I had to phone the pastor and tell him I'm going to be late and I'm going to be in a tracksuit. You know what I'm trying to say? I had to. Because people's priorities are different. But if that was a few years ago and I said to him, yo, listen, we've got a link. This girl's coming down. She's on it.
Yeah.
At this time,
you'll be there. Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say? Since people's priorities are just the way they are, and people are different.
Sure, but we can't judge. All we can do is let them know the truth.
We was all in that place once, like we was all that person. It's only with our own growth with God, then that's when we understood the value of the services or what's being spoken at that time.
It's very true. It's very true. We all, our relationship with God is something very, 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 very personal. Very personal and individual. You can't force it upon anyone else. You can't try to replicate your experiences into someone else's life. They need to go through their motion. They need to go through their way of finding out why they need Christ and who Christ is as well. Unfortunately, for some people, it's a lot easier than others. Some people, it's just a simple invite. They come, they change. Some people, they need to go through some serious situations for them to actually be like, yo, I need to change. I need to give my life to Christ. I need to, leave everything behind. But once it happens, it happens. And if it's taken serious, it's a wonderful thing for that person. It's also a wonderful experience for you to see as well, like seeing people change and everything. I have no idea how long the episode has been, but it was an absolute pleasure having you guys on the show. It was wonderful. Do you guys want to plug your Instas, anything, any projects that you guys are doing that you like to shout out?
We're gonna do some, thing. Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
We've been planning this, this Insta Live, not Insta Live, IGTV thing for time.
Yeah.
Just waiting for the right time to try and drop something, but soon.
All right then. Well, I'll have their Instas in the description below, so you guys can follow them. And when they do it, you guys will be the first ones to see. Anything else that you guys want to say before we wrap up?
We spoke about a lot of things.
A lot of things in it.
Yeah.
One thing I'll definitely say is one thing that an individual can take from this, if you're Christian, not Christian, first time listening, is don't look at it like a burden. Don't look at God as a burden.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people do. They look at God as a burden. Oh, it's a burden to do this. It's a burden to having to let go of everything that I know to give my life to God. I'm not gonna lie. That's how I used to look at it. But for me, I could say that it was the best far. I've done so many things in my life, but this is the best decision I could say I've ever made. Best decision to give my life to God was the best decision that I could say I've ever made in my life.
Yeah.
Literally, that's what I say. If you're listening, baptize the Holy Spirit or not, if you're there, you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Take us serious.
Sure.
Take us serious, yeah.
You've got nothing to lose.
Nothing to lose, literally. If it's not for you,
it's not for you.
No one can stop you. You know what I'm saying? You can leave anytime. Anytime you can go back to your life. No one can ever stop you. That's the way I look at it, and literally that's all I had to say.
Yeah. I think that's it. I think you wrapped it up perfectly for us, bro. Honestly, Christ he's not a burden. Just give your all and you will see what you want in the end. It may take a bit of a while, but the process is just to make you stronger. It's just to make you better and to prepare you for the blessings in which he has. So thank you guys once again for coming onto the show. Thank you everyone that listened to the episode. Make sure that you subscribe, make sure you like, comment, you share. And also, if you're listening on YouTube, if you're listening on Spotify, drop us a like, follow the page as well, and make sure to share with everyone. So thank you. And until next week, bye.